Doctor, I wanted to discuss with you what we have seen today in the magazines and articles about Sheikh Hamdan and the gaming of 2033, creating 30,000 jobs
30,000,
coming
yeah.
in the city. We are seeing a lot of stuff happening between 2027, let's say, to 2033, 2035. And following this announcement, and I'm seeing the numbers that they're creating over 200,000 jobs.
I think it will be more.
Way more, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
following what they are announcing now on these numbers, they are over 200,000 jobs. Are we ready in the city to be having this much growth in terms of population and relocation to Dubai?
Yeah, okay. One thing I have learned about Dubai now, okay, when from the year 2000, when we announced a few plans, we were definitely not ready.
Yeah.
Because there was an understanding that there would be an aggressive development. However, it surprised everybody in the manner in which I mean, literally what you plan to do in 2 years, we were doing in 4 months. So after that, I believe we learned that lesson as a city, that the way we planned was also proportionate to how we were going to scale up the infrastructure that was required. So I think, yes, now there is a very different approach because, see, Dubai of today is not as Dubai of 2000. We are in the spotlight, everybody's noticing what's happening. We can't afford to make mistakes. Earlier, if we did it, a few people here would know about it, but now it's not the case. So if you look at the strategy of the government, the way they are working, even with master developers, just talking in terms of real estate itself, you can clearly see all these launches that have happened now are there for a reason. These launches are to take care of supply from 2027 onwards, because we're going to be 200,000 homes short by 2027. All the launches that we saw in the last 3 years, the 82,500 units, are the ones that are going to come into the market to take care of the demand right now. We're still short 41,000 homes every single year. So by the time we go into 2028, we're short 200,000 homes. That's right. All these launches that are happening now, developers are not going to create upon themselves this mega responsibility for two reasons. One, if people start to see handovers coming in the market and that there is an excess, then the next launches in those big communities will not be attractive. Nobody would want to put the money. But now I have commitment to build since I have started selling phase one, phase two. So I'm creating a huge financial challenge for myself if that's going to happen. Secondly, the long-term impact for those developers would be clients who got excited and I promised them amazing returns now. Communities will get put on hold. They will be super late in delivery. This is going to hurt all my future business because my reputation is going to get tarnished. So looking at all of this, we know that the demand is there and they are still launching. So this aggressive, because I don't believe any of the big developers are operating separate from the agenda of Sheikh Mohammed. To double your economy, you have to, in a way, proportionately double your infrastructure for commercial, for hotels, for malls, for parks, resorts, gaming, businesses, residential communities, towers, villas. Because that infrastructure, if it is not in place, there is no way people are going to come into the city, set up their businesses, new companies open up, will not happen. So it's very important to understand that the strategy that we have in Dubai today is very, very linked to the future when it comes to real estate, I'm talking, because everyone is working in line with the agenda. Classic example, greenfield investments. I did a couple of podcasts on that. Just last month, it was announced again that Dubai is number one in the world on greenfield foreign direct investments, which is something that's really important for people to understand. Everybody understands an FDI, but they don't understand what's a greenfield FDI or a brownfield. So maybe we should talk about that a little bit because it will tell you why this city is poised for big things. And the greenfield is part of the infrastructure. When you get a large company, international company, a multinational company wanting to come into the city, typically what was the model they used? They would find a large local corporate, And then they would get into an alliance, a joint venture is how they would start up. That's called a brownfield investment, where there is a investment, but you don't have to significantly invest because the local corporate has already got their distribution channels, logistics has been set up, their marketing, brand presence, all of that is already there, and you are going to leverage from that. In a greenfield investment, you start from scratch. For example, Toyota, when they went into Mexico, they did not partner with a local established company. They set it up from scratch. A second Toyota came up there from their factories, from the licensing. So all the marketing from scratch, all the recruitments, so all the technology from scratch, all the logistics and distribution channels, the factories, everything from scratch. Now, that requires a significant amount of investment. And I don't believe that these multinational companies will do that if they don't plan to be there for the long run. It's too much for them to do. And I'm sure, confident that they have good research. They work with good international advisory, the top 4 or 5 that we know, the KPMGs, the PwCs, the Deloittes, these companies are there. So, and then they come in there. So a greenfield investment coming into a city makes people take notice of the city because it's very different. A big boy is coming in, but not in partnerships. And if you look in the first 6 months of this year, the announcement was out last month. Dubai is number 1 globally with 511 new greenfield projects that have been announced. Now, number 2 is Singapore, the best city in the world with 186. There's a gap of 325 between number 1 and number 2. So for every day in the first 6 months, 1 new greenfield project was announced in Singapore, 4 were announced in Dubai. So why are all of them coming in here? They become part of that infrastructure. The doubling of the economy will come from these giants who are coming in. So the strategy is very clear. Most of us don't look at it, read it, don't understand it, don't see what are all the other things being put in place, and that's why we cannot understand how it's going to happen. Take another example, the Digital Assets Oasis, which has been set up in Ras Al Khaimah. Everybody's thinking it's because of the casinos. Yes, the casinos were the influence on that, but it's a free zone. We can operate anywhere in the UAE. When digital currencies are the way forward, we now have the world's first digital currency free zone in the UAE.
So also Ras Al Khaimah is more flexible and is less expensive. When it comes to costing, Ras Al Khaimah is almost half of the price
That's going to change very quickly.
Dubai. Definitely. When people will start seeing that Marjan Island and everything coming up, everything will change.
Yeah.
But for the time being, I do understand why. And I have lots of clients that their licensing are happening in Ras Al Khaimah and they're taking it for 3 years straight.
Yeah, no, the reason I'm bringing these up is all of these that are being set up are future driven. So you don't want to go into the future and then look back and say, we don't have this, let's launch this. You launch it in advance. It's confusing people because one, people are just not well informed. Now the government is making all the announcements. They have websites that actually communicate all of this. The whole implementation plans are there. I know because I read these things. But when we don't do it, we sit here and then we speculate. That's what most people do in Dubai. How come? Doubling the economy, just 10 years, that's a 10% on an average growth every year. Global average is 2.6%. What's going on here? So they try to fit Dubai against the rest of the world, which is one of the big mistakes you'll make. The moment Sheikh Mohammed stood up about 25 years ago and started speaking, he had already set himself apart from how the world operated. And everything that we did defied the norms of business globally, and look at where we are today. So you cannot sit in 2023 after viewing what Dubai did for 23 years and then try and take Dubai backwards and fit it in a London, New York, Paris, Tokyo, Mumbai model. We are not any of those cities and we have no intention of being them. We have already demonstrated we are ahead of all of these cities in all the global reports.
You are listening to Take Charge podcast, hosted by
Anthony Joseph